For those of you just tuning into our show, hello and welcome. For those of you who have been with us before, I realize it's been a little while. There's been a lapse in communication, as it were. Somebody asked me recently if I was going to post any more videos, and my first thought was, wow, there are people on the internet who still watch what I do or even remember who I am, which, yay, thank you. That means a ridiculous amount to me. I love it, but it also gives me a fair amount of self-shame in my terribleness. I can give you a few very good reasons and several completely bullshit reasons for why I haven't been making videos. One of the reasons that is legitimate is I got married, and my friend got married, I had surgery, and then it was Christmas and other things. But there was a lot of time in between that. A lot of time of catching up on shows and discovering new shows and binge watching lots of stuff and reading and board game. All in all, just a lot of not being productive in ways that I should be. One of these things being making videos about my comics. And another thing 2015 was fantastic for was me falling behind on comics. As the wedding got closer, I found myself with less time, or when I did have time, I was like, okay, I don't want to, anyway, that's not important. I am behind on a lot of good things, and it's shameful making videos when I'm like, I'm current on 3 things this week because I'm the worst. So, I'm going to catch up on stuff too, so I can be better all around. I can't promise I'll make videos every week, because let's be honest, even when I was making videos every week, but for those of you who have seen a video or two, hopefully there's some reason you stick around. And I will make more videos. I may change formatting slightly just as I feel like it, mostly. Today, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk about a few things that from 2015 that I really enjoyed. And because a lot of the things from 2015 are packed away in their short boxes, and I'm a chaotic mess just in general in my life, I am just going to talk about 2 comics, 2 novels, and 2 board games. I know I haven't really talked about either of the last 2 categories on here, but if you guys like it, I might continue. I might make another segment, assuming that I can summon the motivation. Why do you guys watch me? I'm the worst. I'm crap. This is anyway, sorry. That's not me looking for reassurance or compliments. I have very high self-esteem. I'm so bad. Anyway, let's get to what we're actually all here for. Let's talk about some nerdy things, shall we? If this video runs long, like I have a tendency to do, rather than just reshoot it and be frustrated the second time around, I'll just cut it into 2 parts. So fair warning, if at the end I'm like, oh, we're running out of time, I'll let you know that there'll be a part 2. So, yeah, let's get to it. Let's talk about 2 comics first. So I'm not really current on a lot of superhero stuff. The big 2, I read a few things, like, Ms. Marvel. I was reading Batman. I'm really bad, but I do read a lot of independent stuff, and there's been a lot of really cool stuff that's come out, and there's been a lot of really awesome stuff that's been coming out by people that I love and adore. So I wanted to talk about 2 of those by some creators near and dear to my heart that have been brilliant projects. I don't have the issue ones to show, but I hope it's a good representation. Anyway, the long-awaited, I've been excited about it for, well, long-awaited implies that, this story from Scotty Young, called I Hate Fairyland, the coloring by Jean-Francois Bellew, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, probably not. But this book is fantastic. The basic premise is, a little girl ends up in Fairyland, and she's trapped there for 30 years. She's still in the body of an 8-year-old girl, but she has the mind of a 38-year-old who's pissed off and trying to get out and hates and wants to destroy everything in an adorably cartoonish fashion. And it's Scotty Young, so it's absolutely absurd. Just to put it in point, there's an order as many as you want variant you can get for each issue. That is the Fuck Fairyland variant. As you see, this pretty much gives you everything you need to know about Gertrude and her just charming, adorable self. You know, just a little ray of sunshine that she is. Anyway, this book is delightful. It's not for kids, despite how cartoonish and cute and sweet and whimsical it looks. It's definitely not, but it's definitely for adults of all ages, and it's delightful. I highly enjoy it and encourage it. Second book I want to talk about, and comic, because we're actually going on books next, is this one, Tokyo Ghost, from Rick Remender and Sean Murphy, two people that I love. Sean Murphy is, well, his art is just, it makes me swoon. So this is a story where, in the not too distant future, like in STK would say, technology has gotten to the point where not only it's progressed past cell phones, it's everybody has screens in front of them where they can watch whatever they want, whatever at any time, to the point where they can have as many screens as they want just in front of them while they go through their day-to-day life, like hollow screens. So you can have like a show in the corner, and maybe you'll have another show, and maybe you'll have a to-do list, or if you're really into TV, maybe you'll have like 15 or 20. And it's in a world where, you know, some people get completely addicted to the technology, and they just completely, the rest of the world fades away. They forget about their families. They forget about everything other than just focusing what is on these screens, and they're just fed their nutritions through their body, and they can't. It's kind of messed up. But it's a story about a couple who they're kind of a police keeping force, and the guy is completely addicted to this tech, and he, outside of his job, he has no awareness of her, and they've been together for years, and it's her heart is breaking her heart. Sorry, this is all issue 1 stuff. This is kind of premise setup. And they hear of a world where there is no technology, and she wants to make an attempt to get there. That's a very big oversimplification of it. There's a lot of other crazy stuff involved. There's some awesome action sequences, and he draws action sequences very, very well. So cool sci-fi, you know, maybe there's a samurai sword, so might be some, you know, samurai stuff maybe in later issues. Who knows? But it's a very cool book worth checking out. Pardon me. No professionalism here. On to novels. As some of you may have heard if you've listened back far enough, during the planning of my wedding, a lot of procrastination happened as a result of one series of books, and, well, several series within one universe that started with a book called Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. I discovered that book in March, and ended up in a deep obsession that resulted in me catching up. There were 14 books published, and then the 15th book came out this year, and that came out in August, and I caught up with the rest of the books a week before, and it was awesome and amazing. So this is book 15, which is a terrible way to start off a premise of recommending a book to somebody. So, wait 1 second, look at this pretty cover. Pretty cover, pretty cover, pretty cover, pretty cover, pretty cover, pretty cover. Da 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 da. Okay, you're still with me? My light flickered. Terrible. Anyway, book 15. Read this. First off, read this. This is Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. This is a great work of fantasy for the lovers of Kingkiller Chronicles, Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, Song of Ice and Fire. Good, rich fantasy with amazing world building and deep, rich characters, but also with a little sense of humor. That's what this book is. It's a book about a royal bastard child who is, through circumstance of his birth, raised to be nothing other than an assassin of the kingdom. And there's intrigue, and there's love, and there's murder, and it's just, these books are absolutely everything. They controlled my life. My now husband was a saint and just dealt with being in the background while this was all happening. So if this sounds good, read this and progress. There's a few trilogies, and then a one that's 4 books, quadrilogy, whatever you want to go with there. Second book that is based on a previous thing of a non-novel nature. A couple years ago, year and a half ago, I started listening to the podcast, Welcome to Night Vale, which is amazing. It is a radio announcer talking about his quaint little small desert town, which sounds a lot like my quaint little small desert town, except for mine doesn't have a giant glow cloud and a secret tiny army underneath the bowling alley or a literal 5-headed dragon running for mayor. And it's just this charming, charming world. And in September, they came out with a novel that is just as charming as the podcast, amazingly so. I actually picked up the audiobook, which is narrated by the same guy who does the voice of Cecil Baldwin, the radio announcer who does the podcast. And this is brilliant. If you want, and you've never listened to this and your friends have been nagging you about it, start with the novel. You can do that. You'll be like, oh, I wonder who these characters are. And then you'll want to go back and listen to more. See, it's a multi-way plug. Book, podcast, and audiobook. It's just this trilogy of delight and amazement. So, yes, those are my novels. Now, I would like to go on to board games. Board games have been pretty big for us this year. We had a awesome Christmas where we got like 5 or 6 new board games. And 2 of the ones that we have been obsessing over in our house are Pandemic Legacy. This is one of there's a new type of game. I think Risk Legacy was one of the first to do it, if not the first, where the game, you play it once, and the decisions you make during the game, you will put stickers on the board or rip up cards, change things, you'll reveal secrets, and every action you make can have consequences. But the actions that I make in this game may not be the same actions you make, so by the end of this playing, it'll be 2 completely different games. The one thing is, when you get through the 12 games, there's 12 months, it's done. But it is a fantastic, cool journey. We're actually playing this. My husband and I are playing this version. There's a red box version, which is so you can distinguish between your 2 gaming groups that we're playing with a friend, and we actually had to stop playing this one so we weren't getting spoilers that made it less fun for him, where he was like, what, you already knew that was going to happen? And I was like, well, we didn't actually know, but, scenarios and things, but it's really cool if you have a regular gaming group, or if you and your spouse are looking for a really cool 2-player game. It's hard, it's challenging, and you kill diseases cooperatively. It's cooperative, which is a huge perk in this, and it's super cool. The last game, and I'm really cutting it close for time as my little tiki-talk is showing me, so we'll see how this goes, is one that my husband got for Christmas, and we have been loving. This is a game called Castles of Mad King Ludwig. This is a game that, hard to view with the box, is very charming. It's based on the Bavarian king Ludwig, who built all these elaborate fairy tale castles, some of which became like the models for the Disney castles. He was declared insane, and he spent all of his fortune doing this, and they made a whole game about it, and it's very well executed. If you've played Carcassonne, like the tile building game, this is Carcassonne, but a lot better and more intricate. The Mad King has different whims, and that changes the objectives each time, but everyone has their own, like, secret goals and stuff, and there's rooms you uncover, and each room has different bonuses and attributes, and you lay it out, and you each build your own personal castle, and there's an expansion and stuff, and it's really fun, and it's really enjoyable, and there's a lot of strategy you can put into it, much more so than you can in a game like Carcassonne. It's like Carcassonne and Dominion made a happy, cool, mad castle baby. And my thingy is blinking at me, so I am going to say happy. That was my 2015 reviews. I will be back soon with comics, with other things. I love you guys. Thank you for sticking around. Welcome for the first time. I won't be this terrible again in the future. I'll try. All right, bye. Peace. I didn't just say that. Bye.